Well, it's time to put a rare bit of attention on international football in this Build a Nation story. We are back for a Euros group that includes two of the other three sides from the UK, and I couldn't not show you those fixtures. First, though, is the transfer window in Northern Ireland, and my word, are things hotting up. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 140 of this Build a Nation story, Lifting Spirits with me, Daniel. Much like yesterday's head coach, today's episode will consist of two big games with one off camera in between. We've got a group at the Euros with England, Switzerland and Scotland, and I couldn't avoid showing you the games against the other sides from the UK. We have also got to reflect on a very big start to the Northern Irish transfer window though. So if you're looking forward to all of that, what might be some problems for Lisburn Distillery, and also seeing multiple players from the Irish Premiership in our international team, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. It is time to turn our attention to a very big Euros group, or is it? Because 6 days into the transfer window, there is a lot of news at Distillery. We can see some of it on the screen now on the right hand side. There's probably one bit that's taken your eye, but there's a lot more than meets the eye here. You saw a few little things that were perhaps going to cause some surprise in the last episode when we did our season review and progress report. But one thing that's definitely happened this summer, from us and Linfield doing well domestically and in their case in Europe, is that there's a lot more interest in Irish League players. More importantly, Linfield are going big. So if we start by having a look at our transfer news so far, we'll do a full review as always in the next episode after the summer. You can see there's offers coming in for a lot of our star players, mainly from Premier League clubs and a lot of those that I talked about last time. So Derby are in the Premier League, they've gone for Gavin Reid, Southampton and Glasgow Rangers have gone for Miles Stow, and Scully, the offers are from Leicester and Derby. So a lot of Premier League clubs chasing these players, which kind of proves my point from the last episode. If we go and have a look at the history though, the big news has occurred. Because at the start of this window, as well as Simpson and Lafferty leaving, which we knew, Kashif Beaton had an offer from Linfield. They offered us a fair price, which was 1.2 million, rising to 1.3, and I accepted it. He had a 50% chance of being our first choice, depending on what happened with Misselidis, which we still don't know the answer to. But we're at a Build a Nation stage now, and we know that we can replace our players pretty well. Beaton wasn't going to become homegrown at the club. He wasn't going to become homegrown in the nation. And that is a struggle for us. So I thought when Linfield came in with a good offer, it was the right thing to accept it. And he now, as a player who has 3.5-star ability at our club, is going to our main rivals who are challenging for the Irish Premiership. But the good news is they have won the Europa Conference and they are going big, which is going to make a huge difference to this save. If we go back to the home screen very quickly, you could also see they were making other offers as well. So they have gone in for Haman there, who is a 19-year-old at West Ham, who's not great at the moment, but has big potential. So they are starting to make early moves. Larn tried, but didn't get any over the line just yet. But with the club in the situation it is at the minute, and with Linfield remarkably winning that European trophy, this is a save that might be about to go from strength to strength. And I'm going to keep an eye on this transfer screen because I feel it's going to be pretty big. Dermot Lafferty has left the country, but there's big players coming in, and what a signing Kashif Beaton is for Linfield. Now we've got to get the replacement. We did have a brief look at a couple of those messages. It looks like Misselidis might come back. There's a lot of interest elsewhere, but he has reduced his wage demands, so we've thrown ourselves at it. Hopefully he'll pick us over the other options. And David Bird was a key player on loan at Linfield last year. He's out of contract at Bournemouth. He popped up in our scout reports. And I see him as a replacement for Cameron Goss. So we'll see if those get over the line. That's a worry for the next episode. We've got money to spend. We can invest if need be. And we might have to with the players that we're losing this summer. But for now, it is all about Northern Ireland, the international side. We have had 3 warm-ups for this Euros campaign. David Close scored a hat-trick last time out. Him and Connor Brown are the 2-star youngsters in this team. David Close left Crusaders for Man United. You may remember he rejected us for them about 18 months ago, and Connor Brown, similarly at Spurs, he's on too much money to loan in, he's worth too much to transfer, but he is going to be a gem of a centre-half, I've no doubt about that. Those 3 wins, really crucial ones, but we are still struggling for fitness with a few players. If we go and get through to this fixture against England, you can see it here. In the midfield area, not everyone's fit. Hill was first choice at Rotherham this year, but was injured the last 5 games of the season. And while we were trying to build up his match sharpness here, we were keen not to have him knackered for the first game as well. These 3 group games are only 9 days apart, and I don't want to end up with a threadbare squad. So we've tried to keep it as well as possible. Most players are nearly fit and will grow into this tournament as we go along. And with this England game being first, probably the one that we're definitely not going to win, it does make it a good opportunity to build fitness again and bring on some of those younger players if we're struggling late on. The good news is we have got good young players coming through. So Jamal Lewis finished his international career in the last World Cup, which you saw. Cameron Thompson is now his replacement and is coming along nicely. We mentioned Close and Brown who are on the way. We've still got some stars in their peak. And the big man to miss out from this tournament is Charlie McCann. But 3 bits of involvement from Distillery. On the bench is Neil Kane, is Kyle Carr, and of course it is Paul Elliott who we signed in January. Linfield have got representation as well. They've got Mackie on the bench who scored a penalty in that Europa Conference winning campaign. And then Johnny Burns is from Coleraine, a player we might well look at signing later in the summer. He's got big potential, he's not reaching it there, and maybe we're going to have to take that one. But let's go and get through to the game with this 11 in. There's lots of players who were made in Northern Ireland. So Morgan Hassin, you'll remember, was a Ballymena keeper, also played for Linfield for a bit. Albert Press, exactly the same situation there from the start of the game. Linfield with a loan at Ballymena. And the rest of them, well, it's a pretty good side, isn't it? Let's go and get into it, see how we get on. It's the first game. We don't expect a result in this one, but it would be nice if we could keep the score down. Well, to be fair, England have an exceptional side of world-class players. Paul Holt was in the top 3 for the Ballon d'Or. He's playing for Real Madrid up front. They've also got a couple of original players still in the team. Jude Bellingham, the skipper, is one of them, with Mark Guehi as centre-half. There's also Reece James on the bench and Kanaya Boyce-Clark, a young goalkeeper at Reading at the start of the game. Let's go and get through the dressing room though. We just want to encourage the lads because we're underdogs. We don't expect to cause a surprise. It's just about doing as well as we can. We're on balance. We're time wasting a little bit. It's about trying to nick a draw. And if we don't, we'll bring some of the youngsters on later and rest people for Switzerland and Scotland. We're playing this in Portugal, I think it is. There's a very big crowd in, as you can see. And it's great to have 2 all UK games. In the World Cup, of course, it was against Brazil and Mali. One game we were unlikely to win, and then one where we didn't know what to expect, but didn't have much on it. This little bit of rivalry, or friendly rivalry as it is, will probably do something for the game as well. With 15 minutes in, England have only had 1 shot, and we've not seen it in a highlight, so it's a good sign from our start so far. And if we can catch them while they're warming up, and while they're maybe not that fit, maybe it's our best chance of getting a result. Half an hour gone, we're still in the same boat. I don't care if we don't have a shot in this game. If we can nick a 0-0, it would be a brilliant outcome. They're a dominant side as Aaron Hill has picked up a knock there. He's going to have to come off at half time as we're back with Donnelly losing a header. He's coming up against Jude Bellingham, in fairness, Hill. Not the ideal start when you're not fit. And I do worry about that position. It's the only one we don't have 4 players because I thought those 2 are never injured. So I gambled Charlie McCann. He was declining badly as we go 1-0 down. It maybe doesn't matter quite so much now. Johnny Burns from Coleraine will probably get the run out. Hassin has been beaten as he was rounded by Shanahan. And at half-time, England nick a deserved 1-0 lead. But to be fair, we've been competitive. To give you a little bit of perspective, this is Paul Holt, worth 200 million on $500,000 a week at Real Madrid and scoring more than 1 a game for his country. Shanahan's not quite so good technically, but the rest of his game's pretty exquisite. And he has scored, 1 in 3 across his whole career and 1 in 2 for England. Let's get through the dressing room though. We'll make 1 sub for now. You've got a chance to cause an almighty shock, but you're going to have to do it without Aaron Hill. Johnny Burns will come on for him. And into the second half we go. 1-0 down. Can we find a miraculous fight back? Well, 2 minutes gone in the second half. We're back with England in the centre circle. A long ball forward, which Beacom deals with well. I mean, we're nowhere near the standard of England here, and we're seeing it. As Beacom gets the ball away, it's a great save from Morgan Hassin. How is that a foul by Donnelly? I mean, that's either a very bad animation or a very bad refereeing decision, one of the two. With an hour gone, we're going to have to make changes. And I think now we do think about midweek because we've got a big game against Switzerland. That and the Scotland game are a bit more winnable. Duncan McKenzie in the Scotland squad, of course. So I do think we need to prioritise that now. Ives has picked up a yellow, which could be a worry. depending on the Aaron Hill situation with injury. We are going to go for, I think young David Close is going to get a run up front. Why not? In defence, we're going to give Hagan a rest, who struggles a bit. Connor Brown on for him. And then the final two, we are going to go for Klingon and Press normally struggle physically. I'm going to bring Mackie on the left for Klingon. In fact, I'm going to leave those 10 more minutes. We've got the 2 young stars on. And we'll give it another 5 or 10. Then we'll make a decision. It's still only 1-0. I don't want to completely give up. But I feel now we might have to. I'm not as worried about Monaghan because the best sub is our right back, which is Connor Bradley. He's still 3.5 star. I am worried though about Nia Live. So he's going to come off for Michael Murphy. Albeit that probably signals defeat. And then Mackie will come on the left-hand side. Murphy will change to a Mazzala. Although Johnny Burns, deep line playmaker on defend. Murphy, Mazzala on support. And we'll get through the last 15 minutes. 1-0 still not a bad result. The problem is when we have to take the initiative in games, like we will now against Switzerland and Scotland, I'm not sure we've got it in us. Though Holt turns his man, it's going to be a penalty. And it's young Connor Brown who's giving it away. Inexperienced defending against the best striker in the world. Not really the time for it, is it? But this shows the lack of depth in this Northern Ireland squad at the minute. We're relying on 18-year-olds as Mackie's picked up a yellow already and Jude Bellingham has wrapped up the game. 2-0 thanks to his penalty kick, sends the keeper the wrong way. And now it is game over. The attention turns to Switzerland and we're going to need to pick up a win in one of our last 2 games if we want any chance of getting through. There's a throw on the right-hand side here. England down the right with Beale. The last thing we want in this game is a hammering, because if they do get a late 3rd and 4th, goal difference could be crucial. And it might cost us 3rd place yet, you don't know. As here comes Cattell, wide to Irons. Taking on the fullback Thompson, who's trying his best to hold him up, but can't. Holt's in at the back post, Brown does well, and now Cowan can bring it away. Imagine if we could score, it's a big ball over. Mackie's behind the fullback. Mackie scores. The Linfield man gets in and does it. The Northern Irish Premiership is producing good players, and Mackie is one of them. We nick a goal against England. It's 2-1, and in the context of this group, it might not affect this result, but it might be big for the goal difference, although that's awful from Beacom. He just passed the ball straight out there. Burns can't win the challenge. Reece James is on. He finds Bellingham, the 2nd goal scorer, currently the match winner, and it's wide on the break from England. It stays 2-1. A good effort, a decent result by the looks of it. If we can hold on through this free kick, Reece James will take it. The substitute, probably his last tournament for England. You've got to bear that in mind from a neutral point of view as well. He's hit it off the woodwork. Worrell keeps it in. Chance to cross. Cuts back. There's options there. And he chips it to the edge of the box. Cowan heads away for Close, but he can't win it. And England keep the ball. It's a professional job for them. They're going to win the game. We've given them a scrap, haven't we? And that's the main thing. As in to the right, it goes to Beale. He's up front on his own. Good save, Hassin. Holt on the rebound. That's harsh. He looked off as well, but what can you do? It's a great save. Holt taps it in. And when he's worth more than your entire squad, he's paid more than your entire squad, you do sometimes have to accept the limitations. A 3-1 defeat to England. We're going to get through the Switzerland game. Hopefully a more winnable one on paper. And then we'll be back in a minute to face Scotland. Well, we return after a frustrating week for what is now a must-win game. And even then, it might not be enough. Because unfortunately, if we go back 4 days, we had a very frustrating game against Switzerland. We were 1-0 down at half-time, but in the game, then a little collapse after half-time made it 3-0. We berated the lads, we went aggressive, we went 4-2-4, 2 quick goals back from Donnelly and Monaghan. But then a mindless tackle from Mackie, who was the hero against England almost. He became the villain and he is out of this one. So we are going to have some squad selection issues with fitness, but we have got to try and beat Scotland. Us, them and Switzerland are likely battling it out for 2nd and 3rd because England are already through. Switzerland are playing them today, hopefully we'll lose. And then we play Scotland. If we lose it, we'll take the wooden spoon. If we win it, we're back within a shout. Some big news as well from Northern Ireland in terms of domestic transfers. We have got our 2 men coming in. David Bird, who we had to offer a slightly improved contract to, is coming in for 4.3 grand a week. And Miss Elidis has agreed to join for 4.7. So our new 2 highest paid players, but they are coming in and improving the club, which is a big sign. And particularly with Miss Elidis is important after Beaton left for Linfield. If we go through to the rest of the transfer history, there's a little bit of a fight going on at the moment. Lots of big offers for our star players, and a few of them are just throwing the toys out the pram, so we'll keep an eye on that. But importantly, despite losing a couple of key staff, Dean Smith leaving us as a scout is an important one. We have managed to bring in a few, and we're hopefully going to improve the squad again. So it's all about getting the off the pitch stuff right as well. We've got a new scout joining. We've got a new performance analyst who's replacing one that left for Derby. They're trying to poach everyone. We got a great coach in David Hibbert and another assistant manager to replace Sammy Klingon, who's also going to be good. So lots of good news off the pitch, a few bits of news on it. Oh, and we got a new director of football as well, which I didn't mention. And I couldn't sign the head of youth development I wanted because he's got in a little bit of trouble in real life and I don't want him on my staff. But let's go and get through the team selection, as of course we have got a suspension today. There is also a couple of decisions to make with fitness. Do I go for Beacom or Brown at centre half? Do I go for Monaghan or Bradley at right back? And what do we do in attacking midfield? Because there's players that are tired, but at the moment, none of the match loads are too bad. So I'm going to stick with our first 11. We'll see how it starts off today. We're down to 11 subs. We're down a little bit short due to a few stupid decisions from players. And fitness is starting to become an issue. Duncan McKenzie will probably be in a Scotland defence, as will Leon King, who we're managing in our Twitch stream save. So let's just go and get into it, see who we're coming up against, and whether we can finally nick some points. Well, lots of big news as we go into this one. Firstly, Alex Neil is in charge, which is seemingly a bit of a surprise, but obviously he's at that end of his career now. Lots of original youngsters in there. Josh Doy, Calvin Ramsey, Leon King. Looking on the bench, you've got Lewis Nielsen, Nathan Patterson as well. There's also Duncan McKenzie starting, our Lisburn Distillery man. And again, we have got to try and get a result. We have played 4 games in major tournaments so far with Northern Ireland. We have got 0 points. I at least want to get a point on the board. Let's get through the tunnel interview. Same approach as always. We're just not quite good enough for this level, are we? Let's go and get into the first half. See if we can get a result. We're back with just over 5 minutes to the break. It's been an incredibly quiet first half here. This is the first highlight we're seeing. England did score against Switzerland. They were pegged back quickly, but have now retaken the lead, as it's a long ball forward towards Hagen, who heads away. Both sides playing quite direct and quite cautiously. I guess for Scotland, a draw probably sees them through. They'd be unfortunate not to with 4, as Hill gets it back to Monaghan. He's got centre-halves behind him. Hagen's one of them. Hill brings it out again. Cowan waiting for the ball, and that's this lack of fitness we've talked about. A lot of people waiting for the ball rather than attacking it. As press goes over to Donnelly, it's a great chance for Donnelly. It's hit the keeper, it's hit the post and it's off the line. Duncan McKenzie, our club player, has just denied us a moment of history. He's glanced it off the line at the last second, and it remains 0-0 at the break. It was a glorious opportunity. And we've got to be better in front of goal. Let's get the lads fired up for this, because we praised them in the last game and they just started the second half woefully. We are going to have to bring the youngsters on, and we are going to have to think about fitness. With an hour on the clock, we're in this game. Thankfully, Aaron Hill's injury was only a day or 2, so he has played in all the games, as Cowan gets away down the right here. We're definitely having more of a say in this one. The style that Scotland are playing suits us better, and their team is the least good of the 3, as Ives has a chance to shoot into Klingon. Kian Klingon scores. Oh, we've got a VAR check. Please don't let this be ruled out. I'd really like to just get a result on the board, see if we can get through. The goal is awarded. Scotland are behind, and Northern Ireland are heading to 3 points. I have no idea how they work out the group placings based on this, but at the moment, it's looking pretty good for us. I'm going to go and make changes because we've got tired legs everywhere. I don't really know who to prioritise at the minute. It's going to be Burns on for Aaron Hill. We've got to look after him. Cowan will be off for Connor Bradley. Donnelly's had a poor game. We're going to go for David Close. Connor Brown will come on for Beacon, who's on his last legs. I'm going to save the last one 5 or 10 more minutes just in case, because we're going to need something with an injury. But we're probably going to have to go for one of the defenders or Albert Press. We could take him off for a holding mid, but is that the right move to hold on to the lead? We've been fairly dominant in this game. It's definitely been our best performance. Monaghan at right back is struggling the most. I'm going to go for Paul Elliott. Get our distillery man on. Kyle Carr made an appearance last time. Connor Bradley will make one this time, and Paul Elliott will go further forward as a result. 5 minutes to go. It's a Northern Ireland throw, and we're by the Scotland corner flag as Thompson plays a 1-2 with Ives. Chance to cross. Back to the edge. It's a poor ball. Ball away by Bone. He's being chased, but there's support. And Scotland have left a 2-on-2 up there. They're gambling. Brown does really well to get back, but it's only cleared as far as Doig. Bradley hacks it away. But again, who's going to be there at the end of it? We've got to make sure we stay solid now. Duncan McKenzie gets it back forward. Doig picks it up on the left. He beats Elliott. Brilliant work. The Distillery man gets back, clears it long, and Clingham flicks it on. Currently the match winner. Finds Press the skipper. David Close running behind the youngster. Oh, a couple more years. Him and Brown are going to be brilliant. But at the moment, they're not quite ready. As Clingham on the left into Albert Press. Through ball to Close. He's offside. Doesn't matter here. He puts it in. Could have been a magic moment for the kid. But it's not to be. VAR will rule this out, I'm sure. And it will remain 1-0 and a very tense finish. There we go. Goal disallowed. I'm going to move the fullbacks to defensive duties here. Just try and cling on for a little bit. And we'll go from mostly time wasting to maximum time wasting in a couple of minutes' time. Well, England have got a third against Switzerland. I've no idea if that's important or not for our group position. I'm just going to go and get the time wasting on now. In fact, should we see where we are in the group? Because we might want to be chasing a second goal here. I don't really know. Let's get the league tables up. They are. Right, we're in third above Scotland as it stands. And it might be enough to see us through. But even if not, it's an achievement in itself. So we're going to time waste. We're going to get third and give ourselves the chance. A second goal probably doesn't change it. Let's confirm those changes. Hopefully England score again and maybe it does make a difference. I don't know. But I think it will be on head-to-head record. And with a 1-0 win against Scotland, we have given ourselves a chance of getting through. Most importantly, we have won a game at a major tournament at last, and a few of our Distillery players have contributed to this campaign. Let's go and get through, see if we have got to the last 16, as that will determine what we're going to show in the next episode. Well, big news from Northern Ireland. We have made it through after the conclusion of the group stage games. I'm not sure how we snuck through with 3, but we'll take it. And we'll find out who we're facing in the last 16 next time. We've not got an answer yet. That will be the next episode, as well as more big transfer window news. Owen Kidd has been released by Cliftonville and is now ready to sign. Us and Coleraine have both made a bid. We'll see which one comes out on top. Hopefully you're looking forward to that. More big transfer window news in addition to a last 16 game at Euro 2036. We've then got to start worrying about qualifiers in Europe. But our first major tournament win, great to get a result. And if it wasn't for Duncan McKenzie, we might have won by 2. If you enjoyed this one, note lots of big updates domestically from the transfer window and a big win against Scotland in the Euros, then please do put a thumbs up on it. Let me know what you thought of the performances and what a big moment this is for the nation. Linfield winning a European tournament, us going to the last 16. It feels like things are finally starting to progress. If you want to stay up to date and see what happens the rest of the summer, as it looks like the Irish Premiership sides are about to go big, then please do subscribe and turn that notification bell on. We'll be back with the head coach tomorrow. You can find that playlist in the eye above with our new top 3, our new blog article, and the update for the new season over on the Football Podcast. Any other links you can't find are down in the description below. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time for knockout football at a major international tournament. This Build a Nation is flying.